can keep your faith. I put my trust in Bond.
There.
Bond to MI6, the air is clear. Oh, I forgot that you are here. Alright, give me just a second. Sorry for the wait. I know it took so much time, but you know, I was busy saving England and the whole world as a 007, so sorry for that. So welcome to the video. In this video, I want to compare all the 007 games that was released on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. And kind of like make a comparison, see what is which one about and which one is the best. So let's go. So as the first thing I want to talk about is what all these games have in common, which we'll start with, and then we'll get into the particular games and we'll go over them. So the first thing I want to talk about is the stealth kill, or like the one when you crouch, you get close and you kill somebody. So that kind of gives you the spy kind of feel of this game, especially because it's a 007 game. Another thing that they all have in common is after you get killed, there's like blood coming off the screen, which I actually find it really cool and haven't seen in like, you know, like you have it in a few games, but not necessarily that like the blood is coming down. So I feel like that's kind of like a signature thing for the James Bond games. So you have that in all of them, which I really like. So this is one especially for the James Bond fans. So at the start of every game, it's usually like after like a little bit of a first mission or after a little bit, you get like the cinematics that when you watch a James Bond movie, you get that as well after like a part of mission. You have like the cinematics of like girls flowing in and like you have a song, so that's included in all of the games as well, which I really like. Also, what they have in common is the difficulties. So in all game you have at least 3, I actually think it's 4 difficulties. You have 4 difficulties that you can choose from in each game. All of the games have a single player, which is the main thing. You can play on it, but it also supports the multiplayer, and you can also play co-op with like your friends and against each other, which is really enjoyable. So especially for this generation of Xbox 360 and PS3, all the games have as a main character the Daniel Craig, even though in some games the story is different and like usually it would be like Pierce Brosnan playing in the games, movies or games, but they always use Daniel Craig, which is the last James Bond actor, and also all of them and except one, and that's the last or like the oldest game, you get the dubbing of Daniel Craig as well. So like in the case of the 3 first game, it's actually great hearing him, and you know, M is the same in all the games, which I really enjoy. So just have this little teaser for yourself and see if you like it more, but especially for someone who is a James Bond fan, you will really appreciate this. So now we're gonna get to the separate games and kind of talk about them more in more like a detail. But before I start, if you're enjoying this video and you like my content and more videos about gaming, and there's also one more James Bond video that I have, please subscribe, like. I'm just starting this channel, so this will help a lot. Thank you so much for that. So for the first one, we will be talking about the Quantum of Solace, going in order of the oldest one to the newest one. And so the Quantum of Solace was released in 2008, and it is based on the Quantum of Solace movie, plus also it includes the Casino Royale. So it's the movies where Daniel Craig stars in. So it's, you know, wrapped around these 2 stories. So this game is the only one out of the 4 that is a hybrid of first-person shooter and a third-person shooter. So you're always the first person shooter as long as you're not like crouching or like hiding, then you can see the James Bond in front of you, and that's when it turns into a third person shooter. I actually really like this. I know it doesn't make it too real, which is like the point of the first person shooter, but then you like see all the enemies around you, which is really nice. The combat in here is pretty good. You have an aim assist, which helps you aim. There's not much like a strategy to this game. It's more like you just either are silently crouched and trying to kill someone, or you just like run out enemies and kill them. That's basically all it is. But it is still really enjoyable. So the rating, I took 2 ratings, and I took GameStop and the Google users, which I will do for all the 4 James Bond games. So the first one is 4.2 out of 5 at GameStop, and 95% Google users like this video game, so it actually, compared to this, have really good ratings. So I want to talk about also the platforms, just like for you if you be deciding to pick this game up, so you know what platform it is. So obviously Xbox 360, that's why I'm talking about this, PS3 as well, but you can also get it on the Wii, PlayStation 2, Nintendo DS, and PC. So the best graphics you get out of the PS3 and Xbox 360. The others are lowered on the graphics except the PC. That one's also great with the PS3 and Xbox 360. So just have that in mind when buying the game. Not all of them are the same. And the general graphics for this game, it's okay. It's not anything great, but we are talking about a game from 2008. So, and it's also compatible with the PlayStation 2, so you know there has to be some kind of a, you know, not having too great of a graphics. And it also was released like kind of around, I don't remember exactly, I'm so sorry for that, but sometimes like when Xbox 360 and PS3 got released, I think. So that's also why the graphics are not too great. So like the games later are way better in terms of graphics. So overall, for anyone who's a James Bond fan, I think this is a must-have because it does follow the movies. But even though if you don't mind the graphics and like how the game kind of looks, because it's an older game, I think it's still a good game to pick up, especially if you like this type of genre, and you know the hybrid of first-person shooter and a third-person shooter works very well. So yeah, it's up to you to decide if you like it or not.
Hello?
Mr. White?
Yes, who's this?
We have the GoldenEye. It was released in November 2010, and it was actually released at the same time as another 007 game, which I will get to in a little bit, which was called Bloodstone. These 2 games are very different, which I will talk about later. And so it's about the movie GoldenEye, and it is a remake of the older game that was released in 1997. You know, you get the same story but with the enhanced graphics and everything. So, how I said earlier, the dubbing is by Daniel Craig, even though in GoldenEye, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Pierce Brosnan. So you're not getting this dubbing, even though in the old game from the 1997 you had. So for this game, it's all first-person shooter, no third-person like before, which I really like. It made the game really real. This was actually my first 007 game that I ever played, and I really liked how it looked real, like all the shooting stuff, and you know how you kind of are in the game as the first-person shooter. So in this game, compared to the first one, there are more things you can do, not just like go through the motion. And you have the main objective, which you have to do, or otherwise you wouldn't be able to make the mission. But you also have like other objectives that you do not have to complete to finish the game, but for completionists you do. I actually made a video It will be in my description down below about this game, just reviewing this one. So if you want to know more about it, you can click down below. The rating is 4 out of 5 at GameStop, and 90% of Google users like this game. The platforms are Wii, Nintendo DS, PS3, and Xbox 360. And the best graphics you get from PS3 and Xbox 360. So again, bear that in mind. The Nintendo DS is not too great, so it's still really good graphics for the Nintendo DS. But if you want to experience like the full experience of this game, I would recommend the PS3 or Xbox 360. So the graphics here are very enhanced compared to the Quantum of Solace. I love the graphics. You know, there's some small bugs like in almost all games, but you know, it's so much better than the first one that I talked about. So when I actually played a game, I was thrown out how the graphics were so nice, especially back then without, you know, having Xbox One and PS4. My bad, sorry. And my opinion about this game is that I really love this game. It has more James Bond feel. It does also follow the story, even though it was the one with the Pierce Brosnan, which is a shame they do not have him in there, but you know, now he's kind of old, I kind of guess why they used Daniel Craig. But I think it's still worth picking up, and it's a great first-person shooter, not only for James Bond fans.
See reflections on the water, more than darkness in the depths. See him surface, a never a shadow on the winds. I feel him.
So the third one on this list is the Bloodstone. How I talked earlier, this game was released at the same time as a GoldenEye. I know it's kind of weird, not sure why Activision and all the people who are working on this game did this, but it's definitely worth talking about for sure. So, how I said, it was released in November 2010, and it is actually the 24th ever released James Bond game. So that's kind of crazy, you know, having that many games. I wouldn't even know there were so many. But when I looked it up, there are actually that many video games on the James Bond title, which I think it's really great. The James Bond series, it's amazing, at least in my opinion. I'm a big fan, so. But this game is the first since the James Bond 007 that had its original story. So for all the fans out there, this is not, like, this game is not according any movies out there. They made its original story, which I think it's kind of cool, you know, like making something else. Just like if you kind of wanted it because of the movie, it is still James Bond, and you still have Daniel Craig in it, and he still does the dubbing over and M and all of these, but just it's a completely new story. This game is a third-person shooter, which is also a new one in these 4 games that I'm reviewing. And at first, like, this was the last game out of all of these that I got because I was scared of the third-person shooter, because I really fell in love with the James Bond having the first person or the hybrid. And so I was kind of scared getting this game, but actually it works so well. Like, I can't even, like, it's actually really good. I really recommend. This game is a really spy focus, so I guess because it's not following the real story, it has a more emphasis on its own story and like how you interact with this game. So you do a lot of spy stuff, you just go and trying to find information which you never done before, which I really like. I really felt like James Bond, which what the game should do, you know, and not just like you run into some place and you just start shooting people. So that was great. Also, what this game has is you drive a car and you're in a car race, which is amazing. You also drive a boat where people are shooting on you. So it's actually like if you're in the movies, because you do see James Bond do that all the time, like in Quantum of Solace, he was riding a boat, you know, but they didn't include it in a video game. So I really like this kind of thing about the game. You also do use your spy phone more, which is great too. So the rating is 4.2 out of 5, and 94% of Google users likes this game. So the platforms are computer, Nintendo DS, PS3, Xbox 360. So again, the best game, like the best experience you can get is from PC, Xbox 360, and the PS3. The graphics overall in the game are really good. I think it's even better than the one before that. I really like how they made the cinematics and like kind of like the movie part where you don't do anything, you're just like following the story. I think that worked well. You know, there are some places where like you would be, oh, they could have done a better job, but again, kind of like the GoldenEye, but like once you play and like you're in the chase of, you know, the boats, how I said, it's amazing. So in my opinion, how I said, I was really skeptical about a third-person shooter, but I think it adds really nice feel to it that you see the James Bond and know he really looks like Daniel Craig, which they used him, and he also has the dubbing, so that's great. And overall, I just really like this game. I know this game was very underrated, and whoever didn't play, I would really recommend to have that one in the collection.
Get moving!
So as the last one, our number 4. Oh my god. This is my script and it almost fell down. Alright, so our number 4 is the 007 Legends. Okay, let's start again. So number 4 is 007 Legends, which is the last one released so far. It was released in October 2012, which is 2 years after the release of the Bloodstone and the GoldenEye. And I'm really hoping for another 007 game to come in, because you know, it have been like 10 years since we didn't get a 007 games, but I did heard some rumors about some game coming in that they released, and they, you know, that they made a game but they never released it. So hopefully maybe something will come on our Xbox Series X and our PS5, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Just in case. So this game was released for the occasion of the 50-year anniversary of the James Bond movies, or the character. And so in the game, you have 6 main missions. That's kind of what the game is about. And each mission is one separate movie from all the movies we had. So like, you know, they pick 6 movies out of all there are, which I think is great. And you know, like the one mission is not only one mission, it's like more little ones that fits into one big one, and that's what makes the game together. So I think that works really well, especially if you're a James Bond fan, so you get more, you know, more movies in one. So for this one, it is again Daniel Craig, who looks like the James Bond, but this time, sadly, I was so disappointed when I got the game, because how I said I'm a James Bond fan. He does not do the dubbing, so that was very disappointing. But they did pick an actor or someone who did his voiceover, and he has kind of similar sound, so it's okay. But you know, I really missed that part. I know a lot of people who are not like fan of James Bond that you wouldn't even notice, but for someone who's a James Bond fan, so like just bear that in mind. That's a shame. But for the M, it's still Judi Dench, so it's only with the Daniel Craig that is missing. So at least they still kept the M, which is, thank God. So for this game, you have way more features that goes into the game. It's actually the most out of all the games that I mentioned so far. So you can actually upgrade things in your game. So like once you like progress in a game, you can upgrade your weapon. And you know, you can upgrade different weapons, so like you can pick between them and everything. You have some kind of station where you can even change your weapons and everything. You can upgrade like ammo and like aiming and all that stuff. Plus you can also upgrade on your like personal skills, so like your life, if you would be more quiet when trying to kill someone, when like the stealth mode. So there's so much you can do. Also, this time it's not only your spy phone that you're like trying to work with, which the spy phone has actually 3 modes, which is really great. So like one is for like electricity, one is find fingerprints, and the other one, I think it's photo, I'm not sure at this point. But there's just so much you can do. Plus, you do have your phone as well. So like if you remember in the old James Bond movies, you put your phone and you had like, you know, a laser coming off, so you do have that too. So I really like that it has a really good James Bond feel. Plus this game, I forgot to mention, is a first-person shooter as well. So it actually makes you feel like you're the James Bond. One thing that is actually, like, I don't know how to feel about it, there is more kind of like running up to people and just starting shooting them than like using the stealth mode, which I prefer to use, especially in this kind of game. But you know, at the same time, you do have like the special other stuff that you can use, like the phone and like the watch, that makes the spy kind of feel more real. So you know, it kind of makes up for it. So the rating is 4.1 out of 5 at GameStop, and 86% of Google users like this game. So it actually has, out of all, almost like the worst rating, even though it's still a great rating. The platforms you can get this game on is PC, Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii U. And I have to say, in all of these, the quality, it's basically the same. I personally didn't play Wii U, and we looked up a gameplay and it still looked really great, so I don't think you're doing a bad thing picking whatever platform you want. So like, if you have a Wii U, I recommend getting this game. That's the only 007 game you can get on a Wii U, which is great. So the graphics are really great. I really enjoy the graphics. I think it might have the best ones out of all the games we mentioned. So my opinion is that this game feels more like you make your decisions, since like you can upgrade and like do all sorts of stuff. There is a thing that, you know, how I say, you can't really use the stealth mode as much, which is kind of shame, but you know how I said, like, it makes up for it with the other things. So I really like the complexity of this game, and I really enjoyed it once I played it.
Start the engine. Drive back to the complex.
If you insist. You might want to fasten your seatbelt. I'd hate to lose a passenger.
Worry about yourself, not me.
As you please.
So now the moment that we all have been waiting for, or at least I think so. So which one is the best? So this is actually so hard to say, and bear in mind, it's only my opinion. You might have a different one. So just like, you know, take what I said from before when I was reviewing all of them and make your own decision. But in my opinion, honestly, I think all of them are great and all of them are amazing in different things. So if I have to pick one, it would probably be Quantum of Solace, just because I played it through so many times. Though if I want to go back to it now, yeah, it's kind of hard. Now I kind of want to come back to like the Bloodstone, but I think I enjoyed back then Quantum of Solace the most. Also because of the story, because I just love Casino Royale so much. It's one of my most favorite movies. But as like for the gameplay, I think I got the most out of Bloodstone because of like all the added action that you have in there, like with the boats and stuff. But also the last one, 007 Legends, was also amazing because you got, you know, you can upgrade things, so it more felt like first-person shooter kind of a game. Like, I know this is first-person shooter, but like if you like buy Call of Duty, or you can like, you know, upgrade your stuff. So I think all of them are really great, and just see for yourself which one you like the most. So thank you for watching, and there will be more videos coming up soon, and I'll see you next time.